Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Riff Raff. I'm Shelby.
And my name's Quinn.
And today we have a guest who I would say is one of my dream guests.
It is a dream guest. I'll go ahead and say it's a little bit of an intimidating guest.
Yes.
But I'm very excited to talk with him and see, because obviously neither of us have ever met Jamey Johnson.
No, but I do have actually a story about him because I was backstage at the Opry for Colby Acuff's debut, and that's when Jamey Johnson interrupted us and knocked on the door mid-interview to wish Colby Acuff like a good luck on his debut.
I remember there's a video of that, correct?
Yes. So, I mean, I didn't really meet him, or I said hi, but that was about it. So I'm excited to sit down and talk with him. I love him and his music. So there's so much to get into.
There is. But before we get into it, we're going to do a little bit of an intro. I just dropped my note card, so I'm going to retrieve that. But Shelby, if you want to talk about or lay out some of those top stories that we're going to touch on real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first one is the new Zach Top album, which was highly anticipated, and it came out on Friday, and everyone's had, I think the consensus is it is good. Now, whether it is as good as people expected or less than they expected, I don't think there's really much to debate whether it's good or not.
I think Zach was kind of just in a tough spot, regardless of how good his sophomore album was, just based on the fact that his first album was so highly praised, and people loved the 90s sound of his first album, and this was a continuation of that.
Which I think we've touched on before. His last album was like technically not his first, but he like debuted it as his first,
right.
But he has old music that's bluegrass. I don't know. I just know people are always nitpicky about that. But he actually shared that he had wrote, all these songs and the album prior to even like the last album being released. So it's all like the same quality, same songwriting time frame as before.
Yes.
Just more of it.
And I've listened to it through maybe once or twice. I don't think there's a song as good as I Never Lie.
Not as catchy.
But there are plenty of good songs, and I might even mention a specific song a little bit later.
I almost did that, but I decided not to. I do think Flip Flop will be like the jam of the album.
Flip Flop's good.
I will say my favorite is If You See Me. So, and I'll let you save yours for later. Other big news is football's back.
Football's back. Yes, I love football.
I have a love-hate relationship. I love my teams. I love watching games of my teams. I don't love that it dictates, 3-4 days of my week.
You you're saying that it dictates your day?
Yeah.
Because you're watching the football.
I'm forced to watch football, or it is just, Whiskey Riff content. So
yeah. And I get that. And definitely it's like I get away from I don't get away from sports, but I don't let sports take up as much of my time during the NFL offseason because I am so locked in for the 18 weeks and the playoffs and the Super Bowl and whatever else during the NFL season. I, for one, love the fact that it dictates so much of my time during this part of the year, because it's like, I got something to look forward to. Monday night, Thursday night, Sundays are beautiful. I love a football Sunday. So football is back. We're celebrating that.
I actually enjoy kind of the pop culture-ness around it. Like, I'm really invested in the Jay Cutler stuff right now, of him going to jail for his DUI from last year, and that's a developing story as of today.
I've covered a little bit of that.
Yeah.
From what I know, Jay Cutler will serve 4 or 5 days in jail at the end of September.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting, if he is in jail with some random people, and it's just former quarterback Jay Cutler sitting there. And then, as of last week, because of this episode, trying to do the math here of when this episode comes out, Cutler also got hit with a $25,000 lawsuit, civil lawsuit, by the person who he hit.
Yes.
During the DUI arrest.
Yeah. So I'm invested in that, in the Bill Belichick of it all, in the Taylor Swift of it all, and everything that surrounds that.
There's always different storylines in football. It's not just the product that's on the field. There's always something else. And the Bill Belichick, not a great start to his tenure at UNC, but maybe he'll bounce back. We don't know that,
Hmm.
but by the time this episode comes out, maybe the second game for Bill went better. I guess we'll find out at some point.
Maybe, but we did have our fantasy football draft yesterday,
Yep.
which I think went pretty well.
I think everybody loves a good fantasy football draft because, like the beginning of an NFL season, it's like a clean slate and there's hope and there's no record attached to the team that you have in fantasy or your favorite team that you have in the NFL or college. It's only when the record starts stacking up. And if you have more wins than losses, you're in a good mood. If you have more losses than wins, obviously the allure of having that team or having a favorite team kind of becomes a source of bad feelings instead of the happy ones that everyone feels, I think, right before the season starts.
Now, I know we'll be talking a lot about football probably in the podcast for the rest of the season.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yes. But let's move off of that and go right
Sure.
into our roast and a toast.
Roast and a toast?
Roast and a toast.
Well, it's unfortunate that you use that transition because my roast and my toast is NFL Red Zone.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm roasting NFL Red Zone because they have officially added commercials to what used to be 7 hours of commercial-free football. That is very painful to hear because that was one of my favorite things about Sundays is throwing on Red Zone and, not having commercials come up. But I'm also toasting Red Zone because I don't think I can give it up even if there are commercials in it because I love it so much. It's the perfect companion to an NFL Sunday, the whip around coverage and getting to see all the action. I hate that there are going to be commercials in it, but I'm not going to stop watching it.
I don't think you're alone on that.
Because there are commercials.
Yeah, I think most people agree with you, and they're going to keep watching it regardless.
I wish that there weren't, though.
Yeah, it does
be clear.
suck. To be fair, when anything gets commercials, it just
Yes.
it sucks. It just sucks the fun out of it
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. My roast is $5 coffees.
Yep.
I ordered a black cup of coffee on my way here, $5.
Mm-hmm.
It's a black cup of coffee. I feel like at most it should be like $2 for like
If
the cup.
if it's just a regular cup, yeah,
Black-
nothing special to
No.
it.
I mean, and lattes are already like what, $7, $8?
Yeah, $7
but
to $8.
a black cup of coffee, $5? Ridiculous.
I'm
Anyways,
with you on that one. Yep.
toast. We'll get back into a little bit of country music. I have a couple toasts.
Okay.
One, Coulter Wall, coming out with new music, previewing it right now, and he just is someone who comes in for his tours, dropping music, and then silently goes away and goes back to work, and then comes back when it's time. And I respect it, and I liked it.
Yeah.
And then another one is Willie announced today that he has a whole album of covers, Merle Haggard covers, coming out, which I think is going to be fantastic.
That'll be so cool. Yeah.
I'm really excited for that. So those are my two toasts.
Yeah. Well, toast to Willie.
Oh, toast to Willie every day.
Just continuing to still do it. I mean, I feel like people have an expectation, like Willie Nelson. If you're listening, it's okay if you don't do as much. We understand.
We understand, but we enjoy
we're
the
very
product.
appreciative of the fact that you continue to do stuff.
Oh yeah.
At the pace that you're doing it, it's amazing.
Oh yeah. And with that, let's end with, what song do you have on repeat right now?
Well, like we touched on a little bit ago, mine was "When You See Me" by Zach Top. I think might be the most poignant song that he has. It's catchy. Like I said, not as catchy as some of the others off of his first album, but whenever I listened through, like I said, once or twice, that was the song that I actually even went back to today and watched, and that was like the confirmation of if we're picking a song for
That's
the
the
intro, I got to pick that one.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just so catchy in a Zach Top 90s country fashion.
Yep.
Mine would be The Chair, which is, recorded by originally George Strait, written by Dean Dillon, and I wrote this down because people also love to point out, it's not George Strait's song, it's Dean Dillon's song, Hank Cochran. But there is a cover of it that Braxton Keith did going viral on TikTok right now, which I'm obsessed with. I love Braxton Keith's voice. So that is my song on repeat right now.
A couple good songs right there, I would say.
All the 90s country sounds.
That's right.
And before we get into our interview with Jamey Johnson, I want to remind everyone to subscribe, do all the things on our YouTube channel, Instagram, and
social media,
Twitter,
everywhere.
Everything in between.
Whiskey Riff Raff.
Yes.
Follow it all.
Yes.
Definitely. And on that note, here's our interview with Jamey Johnson.
Jamey Johnson, welcome to Whiskey Riff Raff. You've been probably one of my most sought after guests for a long time because I love your music. When you went on that hiatus, Whiskey Riff always had kind of these memes going up of like a giant white van and it's like unreleased Jamey Johnson music. I would go in there for that. I also want to thank you for your service. You were a Marine for 8 years, is that correct? I would love to kind of start from the beginning and talk about how you ended up being a Marine and how music came into your life.
Had a full ride scholarship at Jacksonville State, playing a French horn in the concert band. And after a couple of years, I figured I'd learned everything I was going to learn. And I joined the Marines. I didn't want to do the things you had to do to keep the scholarship. You know, I was ready to kind of move along and do something else. And but I did good in school. Made good grades, studied easy. So
what made the Marines though that next step? Was there anything else that you were exploring for a second?
There was always something in me that I knew I was going to do it. You know, from the time I was a kid, I always knew I was going to be a Marine one day. And when when I reached that point in college where it was time to sign this off and move on, one of my ideas was, well, I can go join the Marine Corps, get in the reserves, get my GI Bill, and then right back up in school. It's just, you know, then I'd have to do the weekend a month and the 2 weeks over the summer and all that stuff. So that's exactly what I did, and I didn't go back to school. What I did after that was I would just sign up for these Marine classes, MOS classes, little schools that they had here and there where you're pretty much sitting in a classroom studying this now, studying that now, you know, doing some little missions here and there and nothing special, nothing exciting, but it was a good way to earn some money for a while, you know. I never did use that GI Bill.
Not too late. Where were you? Were you making music while you were in the Marines? Was it songwriting, making music at all, or were you just kind of absorbing it at that time and had the plan later?
It was writing a lot. At the time, I'd never co-written a song and didn't even understand the concept really. So I wrote all my songs by myself. But I was also learning cover songs, you know, and I say learning, but I didn't have to do much learning. I already knew most of them by that time. But anytime I would perform live in the Marine Corps, it was probably at some, I remember one time was at Camp Wilson, which is in 29 Palms, California. There's a little bar in the middle of the desert, and I sat on the front porch with my cap upside down, my cover upside down, so people could drop little tips in there. made a little money. I remember we made enough money, we went gambling in Laughlin, Nevada one night.
Been there.
I would also I was getting passed around to officers. You know, they would hear from some captain that, you know, this singer brought a guitar out in the middle of the damn desert and was putting on shows. Well, bring him over here. I want to hear him. So I got real popular in with the, you know, all the officers.
That's cool that like those two worlds kind of collided for you. And you said earlier that like you always knew you were going to be a Marine at some point. Was there also a part of you that knew that you'd always be a country music artist?
My life hasn't changed a whole lot. And I know everybody's perspective of my life might have changed as we went along, but I have always done exactly what I'm doing right now. And so, yeah, it wasn't just always knowing that I was going to do it. It was, in fact, always doing it.
Gotcha.
Know? As far back as I can remember, we're grabbing a guitar, heading up on stage to sing something. None of that has changed.
And you mentioned back then, you know, you'd never done a co-write. Now, I feel like you're friends with everyone, in Nashville.
I've made a lot of friends in Nashville. I've been here since January 1st, 2000.
Okay.
And so I've learned probably 3 different complete sets of industry people
Yeah.
in that amount of time. Willie said you wait around long enough and they all leave.
What's your view on Nashville and how much it's grown recently?
Well, it's just an observation, that traffic is a real thing now.
Yes.
The crime rate's up. Whatever you got at the house, if you don't bring it in, it probably ain't going to be there in the morning. Somebody's going to wander by it. We get the strange rings on the doorbell and all that kind of stuff. But, I still love the town, and I still love the people, especially the ones that's been rooted in here, like I have for a long time. My old friends in Nashville, we love each other. We do things together. We just did a dove hunt out at Lee Bryce's farm, where a lot of people that I've known for 20 years, we all get together and have a little lunch, have a little dinner, and have a little fellowship in between. I love that the town is growing in terms of, the restaurants are getting better.
That's true.
And that sort of thing. And I'm glad they're making a lot of money down on Lower Broad, but I kind of do miss the old days before it became so popular. Back then, it was like a really big, small town, and especially the music business, the entire music industry. And your building here ain't far from Music Row. In fact, I think at one point, Waylon's office was next door.
It was here, actually.
It was in this
Yes.
building. I was thinking that when I looked it up. But yeah, Nikki moved it over here from its original location, I guess you'd say, over there on 17 and Grand. Does that sound, or 17 and Edge Hill? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
I think it's Grand. But Music Row over here used to be like a campus, and it felt kind of like a college campus in that, you'd just be walking down the sidewalk going from where the publishing company office is to where the writing rooms are, which is 2 houses down, turn around, take a left and whatever. That was how the whole neighborhood operated. It was understood nearly every house over there was a music house. And so you had studios, you had publishing offices, management offices, agents had offices over there, all of them in these old houses, and they just renovated all these old houses and turned them into music buildings. The building I'm in now, 30 Music Square West, it's the big RCA building. It was built in 1964, or started in 64, and it was the first building constructed for the purpose of music and just music business on Music Row over here. Before that, it was all residential, and you had places like the Quonset Hut over there by Sony, which I think now is Mike Kerb's building. That's what I mean. You stay here long enough, and that stuff changes hands.
Yeah, every day.
It turns into something else. But
when you say it felt like a campus. Like, were you walking around and running into people?
Oh,
all the time?
Always. And we had it ain't like you had to clock in, but everybody knew 10 o'clock was start time. So 9:45 the coffee pot gets going. And 9:50, there's 15 people standing around that coffee pot, and all of them's got Grammys. And when I was the one kid not in that group with those guys back then, felt like I had a lot to prove. So I did a lot of listening and writing appointments back then. I wanted to know what these other hit songwriters had to say about things.
It's so refreshing that I feel like you have a positive experience with the industry, with Nashville. You haven't really left since you got here. Do you love Tennessee?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm very much an Alabama boy
Mm-hmm.
still. My whole family's from there. So I'm proud of where I come from, and I get back every chance that I get. But Nashville's where I've been for the past 25 years. That's half my life. I've been in Nashville over half my life now, and it's my town, you know.
And who are some of those like oldest friends that you've had since you moved to Nashville in 2000?
Chris Hennessy would be probably the oldest relationship I've maintained. Is either him or Greg Perkins. But Hennessy played on the road with us for a while. But he was another gunslinger back then. You know, he was one of them guys you could tap and go, hey, let's go do a writer's round. It don't have to pay anything, and you know, hell, nothing paid anything back then. You didn't even get a free beer.
Yeah.
You know, that's about the same time, and in that first few years, God, I met so many. Rick Tiger, David Brainerd. Rick passed away over COVID. David's a world-class producer and brilliant songwriter, great guitarist. Randy Hauser, Dallas Davidson, Jared Neiman. All of us met in that same little era right there. We were kids. And I say that now knowing full well we were we were youngins. You know, we were all just old enough to drink and smart enough to write songs about it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, back to the co-writing. Now, do you prefer to co-write rather than write alone, or is it like 50-50?
I like it both ways now. I like a good mix. If I'm not writing 100%ers, I don't feel like I'm exercising, and you can't have that, you know? You can't abide by that. So I have to, every now and then, conjure up a good 100%er and just see it all the way through and don't include anybody. It's too easy to get a hook and an idea and a chord progression and call one of your buddies up and go, hey, come finish this with me. And what is that but giving up on it?
Yeah.
And so I see it both ways, though. There's also been some wonderful ideas, and I've called and shared them with a co-writer and wrote a crap song with a wonderful idea. Once you commit, you're in it, you know. And if the song doesn't hold up to the idea, well, it's just another one, you know.
And I'm curious because I don't know, you know, this behind the scenes. If you're not confident in a song, does it just go in the trash or does it still live?
Wherever they go.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't really live anymore after that. It exists, but no, it's not growing. There's not a big buzz around that song. It's just kind of sitting there in that file on that guy's hard drive.
Got it.
I'd imagine my head immediately went to like the Island of Misfit Toys, where it's
That's
like
right.
it's off somewhere, but no one's gonna really see it.
Yeah.
And whenever you say like writers round, has that changed? I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming it's changed from the time that you got to Nashville versus if you went to a writers round today.
Well, I guess the response might change some.
Yeah.
Nobody used to buy a ticket because my name was included in anything, you know, and I still remember those days, and that's how I still perform today. Like, I'm playing for a room full of people that don't know who I am and don't have any idea, you know.
Now, you're labeled, you know, in the industry, I'd say, as an outlaw. How do you feel about that title? Do you agree with it?
I understand it. And I shake hands with it. I'm not fighting the connotation or the imagery or anything else, but I'm about as outlaw as George Strait, about as outlaw as Randy Travis. Maybe you're talking about a couple of guys there that more outlaw than people think.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's the beard that makes people just assume that you're outlaw?
I think the beard might make more people think I'm Santa Claus than an outlaw. I don't. The color left my hair a long time ago. I'm colorblind, so at first I I thought it was just, well, I've been spending more time outdoors these days, and probably just bleaching back to its original color, which was blonde.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one day Chris Hennessy and I were out on the golf course, and I told him, I said, I guess my hair's just gonna all of it go blonde. And he went, yeah, blonde. And I went, it ain't blonde, is it? And he went, mm-mm.
I love that.
Yeah, well.
Any beard upkeep that you have to do?
It's hair. You wash it.
Yeah.
Let it dry.
That's what I always tell people is like, the only reason I have a beard is just because I don't want to shave every day.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like that'd be a lot.
I can say the same thing.
Yeah, there we go.
If you didn't get rid of it,
I used to have these razor bumps right here.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can't see any of them because they're all covered in beard.
Yep.
And they're not there.
Yep.
if you didn't get rid of it for your wedding, I don't foresee you possibly ever getting rid of it, right?
Yeah. Well, I've always had the idea that one day when I get ready to retire from the business, go do something else, it's as simple as a haircut and a shave. And then I can go anywhere I want to.
That's true.
And Brittany says, yeah, but as soon as you open that mouth and say something,
They'll know.
somebody's going to know.
Well, I hope that's not anytime soon because you just released a new album November of last year, and you hopefully have a lot more music on the way.
Yeah. Well, so we, I've got so many songs recorded, over 50, still unreleased just from the past couple of sessions. We got more sessions coming. So I don't know. At some point, we're going to have to just start throwing songs out.
Yeah.
But,
long albums coming.
I wouldn't think so. I think what we're going to do is just release the whole series, album at a time, and, keep making the best records we can with the songs we've got available. All this stuff we've recorded over at Johnny Cash's cabin, the Cash Cabin Studio. There's a presence out there, and there's an immediate reverence from the band when we get there, but there's also this open avenue for anything goes. Grab your guitar, or keyboard, whatever you're playing, and let's give it hell. So we're out there making some of the best music I've ever gotten to record right now.
And how would you describe that Cash Cabin? Does it feel like it's a museum that you're borrowing, or have you?
It feels like it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like the kind of place that if it were open to the public, every bit of that would be behind glass. You just get to walk up the doorways and look in there and see it. And yet we get to go in there and turn the stuff on and play and record.
Mm-hmm.
What's that,
Sacred.
baby?
That was JoJo that just made a quick cameo.
Yeah.
In case anybody heard that one.
This dog's got 8 names.
Yeah.
Jolene, Nova, Grace, I think Eakins, Johnson.
Well, she's being good. She's being good. But I was fascinated whenever I was reading about you spending a lot of time at the Cash Cabin, because I would just imagine that would be such a special thing to be able to record and work in a space like that.
So what JoJo's trying to tell you is she gets to go out there too.
Gotcha.
And she got in a little scrape with John Carter's big girl out there, the head ranch dog. Her name is Biscuit. And JoJo and I, we get up every morning and go walking or jogging or whatever we're going to do. We just go explore. Well, we came across Biscuit out there, and Biscuit just about snapped her head off. And JoJo don't like that stuff, so there's a little scrape went down between the two of them. But we got it all sorted out. We can go back out there now and ain't no fight.
She's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know when we can expect any of the new music?
I'd have to call 3 people to find out.
I figured that'd be the case. Are you on social media at all? I always wonder.
In what way?
I don't assume that you're ever the one posting, I have a new song out today, but are you looking to see the reactions of people to your music?
I make stuff available for social media, but no, I don't even know my passwords or, really even what format to get into. I don't have the apps and all that everybody else seems to have. I get these videos that you click on and it tries to make you download an app, and I'm like,
I get that.
It's not that I don't care what people think about my music, but I certainly do not obsess over it. I don't care that much. It's nice to get a compliment. It's nice when people get something out of it, but that'll never be the purpose of it.
And when you were first releasing music, it wasn't like social media is what it is today, where everyone could make their opinions so readily available.
Social media. Yeah. I mean, at one point, Zach Brown and I were the #1 and #2 country artists on the independent MySpace page.
Love that.
That's my extent of participation in social media. I went out with the MySpace generation.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel like you don't have any bad feelings towards social media and its role in
No, it's just
today?
I see it as something that it's not good for you to spend too much of your energy in that way. And my advice to anybody out there: see if you can get none, and if you can get none and you're good with that, be done with it. But if you're gonna do it, limit yourself.
Yeah.
We don't need people hanging out in basements for 80 hours a week, sitting there staring at a screen and trying to figure out what the rest of the world thinks about their new blue jeans.
Yeah.
People need to get that through their head that not everybody's interested in what you had for lunch. So
That's true. No, that's definitely true.
I want to ask about your marriage and how you met your now wife. I saw a headline that said, you met her and the next day you proposed. I would love to get that story and hear how it all happened.
she said no.
And yet here you are.
She said not right now. And I always I knew from the beginning I wanted to marry her. And I knew what she was. She's just a sweet, down-home, brilliant Southern lawyer. And we met in Jackson, Mississippi at the governor's inauguration, not the ball, the ceremony. It rained that day, an epic rain event down there. The Pearl River came up out of the banks, and there were parts of downtown Jackson that were just flooded over. She don't like the sound of my voice. So they ended up moving the inauguration ceremony indoors. I was standing up against the wall so the governor and his security detail could get by, and Brittany ended up on the wall right beside me, and I looked over and saw her standing there, and she was like she was trying to get back, and I said, "What are you hiding from?" And she looked at me and I ain't hiding from nothing. I was like, tick, tick.
From there you're hooked.
I felt that. Now the next day we went over to Walker's Diner in Fondren, I think is what it's called, with Randy Houser and the governor's brother Todd and Lee. And we had lunch over there. She came and joined us for lunch. I was walking her to her car when we got done and asked, can we just go ahead and get married and have some kids? And if it works out, we'll start dating.
And she said, not yet.
I don't know what kind of proposal that was, but I was just letting her know I already know.
So you would definitely be someone that says that they believe in love at first sight, or the when you know type thing.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that everybody's situation would be the same. But yeah, I believe it happens. I believe there's people you meet that you know you're going to be best friends with. You know, we've all met them.
Yeah.
Think about your best friend. There was a time you didn't know them, and then there was a time you did. So that's where we are. You know, she is clearly my best friend. She's the one that's got my back no matter what. She's in the same boat I'm in, and you know, if she don't like my ideas, she's gonna let me know.
Does that mean you hopefully have a lot of love songs on the way on the new records?
I don't know that I've ever written a bunch of love songs anyway. But I'd say, you probably you can get my take on them.
What of You is one of them that I loved off the last record.
Yeah.
I wondered if that was about her or written.
Well, from my perspective, yeah. I think there's 4 writers on that song. I guess all of us would have to say it's about our own. But the way that song came to be, we went down to Abaco, Winding Bay, in the Bahamas, and it was me and Dallas, Randy, Jared, Lee, Rob Hatch, and all of us were. We only went there to write. Hey, hold it down over there. I'm trying to interview. And every time we would walk out onto the balcony of that house we were staying in, Dallas would go, "What a view, what a view, what a view." So we all knew we were writing that song. Nobody even had to jot that down as an idea. He just kept saying it every time he'd open up them doors. Man, what a view, what a view, what a view.
I love that.
Yeah.
And, for your guys' wedding, you had Ernest perform your first dance song.
Yeah.
You had Randy Hauser officiate it. Star-studded. Again, all your best friends.
Yeah.
Do you think that you're just a friendly guy that just kind of picks up a new friend every right? Like pick up a new friend every right? I feel like you're also like really championing a lot of the younger artists. I think I saw you perform with Megan Maroney at the Opry once.
Yeah.
Friends with Ella Langley and Riley Green were in that music video. You like also support and mentor a lot of people.
I don't know that it's mentorship, but I accept it in whatever role that it is. I kind of feel like I'm the younger generation's version of Uncle Jesse. You know, still run shine. I just do it in a pickup truck. I feel like I've been there and done that in a town full of people that are coming up to do it. And if I can help with some inspiration or just some thoughts, you know, that's what I'm here for. And I love the music they're putting out too. A lot of these kids are just brilliant, absolutely brilliant songwriters. I hear it all the time. You know, if I'm out riding around in town, I might put it on one of the contemporary country stations and listen for a while. Some of the songs they're putting out are great. And they're writing some crap too. I'm not trying to blow them up too big, but no, there's so many great artists around Nashville today. It's worth my time to stick around here and see if I can help.
Another artist that I know was very open that he came to you for advice was Oliver Anthony and all that. It's crazy to, watch his rise and still putting out music. Are you planning on helping him make any music or just kind of there for the business advice?
So he's come to join me over at the Cash Cab and, saw the setup we've got over there. He's on a different plane altogether. I mean, he's bigger than life, really. If ever there was a guy called to do what he does, it's him. He's so good at it. He writes from a pure place. He's got without being virtuous, one of these guys that wants to flout their virtues all over you all the time. He just does the best he can. And he also acknowledges his failures, which is a very human thing to hear. And the way he puts all that together in his songs is brilliant. You couple that with, there's a very hard and rigid beat to it. You can almost hear his foot stomping on the front porch of the cabin they're sitting in. Mm. And it once you hear that, it sounds a lot like marching music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he's obviously been someone who's kind of been outspoken about the Nashville scene and like his bad experience, once he started to become a bigger name. You're someone that's been in Nashville for a long time. Do you guys ever have conversations about that?
Yeah, and they're all just observations. Mm-hmm. If it depends on what your upbringing has been like, what your experiences in town have been like. There's people who come here and hit it big right off the bat, and they just never have a bad day. Mm-hmm. Well, good for you. Mm-hmm. But there's also people here that met up with the wrong manager and the wrong lawyer and the wrong agent and got tore up, got chewed up and spit out. And it's a town that is very capable of either way. There's a lot of people came here and got rich quick. Mm-hmm. It seemed like it was overnight. And then there's people who come here and, give it a hell for decades and never get anywhere with it. So, it's, again, just an observation, but that's the nature of the beast.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a beast. That's a good way to describe it. Because we have all kinds of conversations with artists whenever we sit down and just like their experience in Nashville. So it's interesting to see or hear at least that like whenever you and Oliver Anthony talk about it, it's like it sounds like you guys are both just coming from a honest place. There's like these are my experiences, and this is how it worked for me, and this is how it worked for him, kind of thing.
Yeah, we've talked about all kinds of things. When I first met him, he had just climbed out of the woods and released a song, mm-hmm. and in fact, I was on that writing trip with Randy and Jared and Lee and all them in the Bahamas. And it was like 5 or 6 times in a row my friends sent me the same video. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I got it from hundreds more after that. People just making sure, have you seen this guy? Mm-hmm. Have you seen that? And he got the entire country's, in fact, the entire world's attention. And it was just overnight. And he didn't even have to come to Nashville. He just went in the wood line with a cell phone, mm-hmm. and came out a national hero. Mm-hmm. And I mean, good on him.
Yeah.
Chris is one of the most genuine people I know, and it doesn't surprise me at all that he was able to pull that together and make it work so efficiently. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, we might want to open this door and let her get out in a bigger room.
Yeah, that's
sure.
No problem.
She might quit whining at us.
Yeah. Fair.
Go ahead, babe. I'll be out in just a minute. Go on. It's okay. Go ahead. No.
I also love asking artists, what do you listen to? Like, I feel like a lot of people have this image that you're probably just only listening to Morgan Wallen. You just mentioned that you will sometimes, turn on the contemporary country station or country music station. Is there anything else that you really love listening to, whether it's country music, not country music?
Yeah, I listen to old gospel music, and I listen to some contemporary gospel like Zach Williams, Mercy Me. I love those guys. We're kind of like tour mates. We've just never toured together, but we use all the same people for
Oh, nice.
for touring. So we know a good deal about each other through our friends. But I listen to I'll listen to symphonies. I listen to a lot of Tom Petty.
Big fan.
Yeah, I love Tom Petty radio. I'm so grateful he took the time to record all of those shows and tell people all about, his favorite bands and his favorite songs, and kind of give you the background of all those songs that you wouldn't know of otherwise. And it gave me the idea for my own radio show, which we're putting together right now. I've been doing shows for years and just give them to Sirius XM, like Christmas shows. And now I'm thinking about launching the whole thing as a more like Tom Petty radio.
So having your own channel on SiriusXM?
I don't know about getting my own channel.
Gotcha.
I don't think I'm that big or that popular.
Hey, I mean, I think you are, but
I think what I might end up doing is putting together something and see if I can farm it out to rural America. Get back out there where I came from.
that'd be cool.
I think it'd be better to do that than trying to get popular with it.
And you're seeing a lot of artists kind of do their own SiriusXM channel or something like that, and it's just giving people more access than ever before. And obviously that's something that you really appreciate about Tom Petty radio, because it's just like you always had access to the catalog, but you never knew all those stories. And I feel like those channels are so useful.
He's just such a bigger than life kind of songwriter and entertainer. The world would be remiss to not have all those radio shows. That's where you find out who he was.
Yeah.
I used to get to listen to Waylon every Wednesday morning on Carl P. Mayfield's radio show, KDF 103.3. And that's how I learned everything I needed to know about Waylon.
Yeah.
I was the biggest Waylon fan. My goodness. I still am. And so glad that I got to hear his ideas coming from his voice, on that show. Hear the way he thought about Nashville, and he kind of gave me the perception that I have of it today. Those were formative years for me in town, and to hear Waylon's take on it showed me the same thing. He said he never left, and he didn't go back home to Texas when Willie did. Waylon said he stayed. He said, I wanted them to have to see me in these hallways. I wanted them to have to see me at these important events that we do every year. And, even if it was just a golf tournament or whatever, he stuck around so they'd have Waylon to deal with. And I'm glad they did. I'm glad he was able to mentor so many other artists just like me. I've been touched by a lot of people that Waylon mentored directly, like David Lee Murphy, Kyle Lenning, just so many people in my life today that had wonderful relationships with Waylon. I never got to meet him, but I feel like I did.
Are you excited for the new Waylon recordings, or have you had a chance to listen to them early?
Oh, so Shooter is a good friend, and I've been watching this one coming for a long time now, and very excited that everybody else gets to hear what I've been getting to hear for the past couple of years.
Yeah, that'd be really cool to have new music from Waylon. That's something that you just never thought.
It's stuff that you haven't heard before, and I may have one Shooter hasn't heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Got it from Buddy Cannon.
Mm-hmm.
It was never released, but it's a version of Survival of the Fittest. I think Mel Tillis, I know Mel Tillis wrote the song, and I think he got it to Waylon out in Vegas, and they ended up recording this work tape out in a studio in Las Vegas, and it's just Waylon playing guitar, and I think Mel might be singing some harmony in the background or made a comment at some point like that. It's a really pure recording, though. So.
What a cool thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's the same reason why, you know, we wanted you on the podcast is, you know, you have all these stories that we love hearing as well. So.
Well, I'll see if I can fire up some more for you. What else you want to hear about?
Well, I was going to ask, what was your relationship with Toby Keith? Because there was that story that came out where he was trying to get you to do a 365 tour. Is that right?
He was serious.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, he wanted you to be there with him, or was that something that you were going to do solo?
Oh. Normally, if somebody were to mention that idea, my ears would close up and I wouldn't hear another word.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It would just seem like such a ridiculous thing. But when you're dealing with Toby Keith, you're dealing with a man who has the financial means to make that work any way it needed to work. And I knew he was serious about it, and he didn't care what the paycheck was at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't care what we spent or what. He just cared about being the, you know, let's go do 365 and just prove we can.
Mm-hmm.
To who? I don't know. Us.
Do you enjoy being on the road that often?
Oh, I don't.
No.
Some traveling is good. Too much is still too much, and it doesn't matter at what point it happens. When it's too much, it's too much. And I like to get home, rest that off when I feel like I'm burning out.
Mm-hmm.
But I could really see Toby and I pulling together 365 shows in a row. And I was up for it. I was ready for it. I can't say I was excited about it. It seemed like it was, but it seemed like it couldn't be done, or that it wouldn't be done easy. Because he was talking about not just playing, you know, the sheds and the civic centers and all that stuff. He wanted to play every dive bar this country has to offer, even if they were right across the street from each other.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do one night here and one night there. So.
Do you ever still consider it just in honor
Hell
of
no.
him?
he gave birth to a really good idea. I'm happy to pass it along to the
next person.
to the next generation. If anybody's got it in them, go do 365 for Toby.
Mm-hmm.
That totally does feel just from, you know, what the public knows about Toby Keith. Like, that's something that he would do. Like you said earlier, prove it to who? Like, it doesn't matter. He's not trying to prove it to anybody.
No.
He's just trying to do it.
Yeah, I just wanted to do it because it seemed like a cool idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And did he play a role in you coming back to release new music?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, Merle was always a constant reminder. And it wasn't like every day, but, you know, Merle would call me. He'd call me at 3 o'clock in the morning and just know that I was up.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Had a feeling.
That was weird. It was like he wouldn't open the conversation with, "Hey, you weren't sleeping, were you?" It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Why would I be asleep? But he would remind me all the time, "I'd sure love to hear another one of your records." And at the time, I didn't see any point in it. Here's the thing. Why would I go and spend the money it takes to record an album when you don't get paid anything for them?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if we're still selling out shows. And we do better and better and better and better without a new album.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like it was better to save the money to me. It also happened after a head injury that just knocked the sense out of me just about. I slipped on some ice in the studio parking lot one night. I didn't realize it had frozen over while we were inside working. There wasn't no ice on that parking lot when I went in.
Mm-hmm.
And when I fell, the first thing that hit was the corner of my head, and it hit so hard, blood shot out both nostrils. And I went to Vanderbilt a couple of days after that, found out I'd had a concussion. If I didn't get knocked out, you can get a concussion and not be knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And everything in my brain chemistry went to fight or flight, and it stayed stuck like that for a really long time. And I would sit down to write and couldn't, not even want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And I guess that was probably what I was using some of that pot for back then. I quit drinking in 2011, not long after that head bump. And I quit smoking pot for about a decade, around 2015, 2016. And I didn't smoke again until we wrote What of You? When we sat down to write that song, I told you, we all knew a song was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I did was sit down and start thinking of reasons this song ain't never gonna fly. You know, if you listen to the wrong voice, you're gonna get the wrong information.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there coming up with reasons why I didn't want to write this song. And I looked over, and one of my dear friends had put a joint in an ashtray, and I could see where where this session was going anyway. So I went ahead and smoked one and started writing songs again. And they came in like a flood after that. You know, you'd have to jot down ideas and just get to that one later on.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like all the inhibitions had been lifted. There were no more restrictions, and I didn't sit down and come up with reasons why I'm not going to write. I just came up with another line.
And that's how, this 50 songs came to be
Yeah.
written. Well, we've already been recording for a while, but before we end, I want to ask kind of some rapid fire questions that are a bit random, but I'd love to get your answer on them. And the first one is, what is your favorite George Jones song?
Favorite George Jones
You can
song?
only pick one.
That ain't right. I think the one I got to go with have to be Love Bug,
Okay.
because T.W.'s dad wrote that. Cargyle. T.W. Cargyle. And so that was one of the first things I found out about T.W. was he comes from a songwriter family, and he's been my engineer ever since.
Oh,
We
awesome.
met from about 01 to now. He was working at County Q studio, and I would get called to go and sing demos and that sort of thing on other artists' stuff. And most of the time, if it was at County Q, I'd end up with T.W.
Mm-hmm.
And he and we just worked really well together. He's got a massive intelligence, but he's a really big guy too. So having that extra cranium room must be beneficial. But T.W. He's about 6'8".
Oh, wow.
Yeah, big dude. And when I met him, he might have been about 480 pounds. Back when he was slim. Oh, he's getting back down to that weight now, but he's one of the most loyal friends that I've got. And quickly growing into one of my longest lasting friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next one is how do you spend a night when, you're not making music, you're not doing anything for your music career? You're just at home. How do you spend your night?
That changes. Sometimes it's doing laundry and packing a bag because we're leaving again in the morning.
What about your ideal night at home?
Oh, my ideal night at home is, Brittany and I cooking something out on the Rec Tech. We got a Rec Tech pellet grill. I cooked a couple of Boston butts the other day. Took them out to that dove hunt we did at Lee's place. I don't know. We keep it simple, Just make some dinner, sit back and watch a movie.
That sounds nice. Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah.
I'll throw in one.
Yeah, go.
I've seen that you've crossed paths with John Daly and Matthew McConaughey. Which one would you say you have like the wildest story from? Or are they both just like great people to be around?
I wouldn't even bother trying to tee up that conversation. But I've got good friendships with both of them, and you're going to get unique stories from both of them.
That's what I figured,
and I mean by the dozens.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, last one's a two-parter. Who would you say the most underrated songwriter is in country music, and who is a new artist that you're really excited to see their career?
underrated is the qualifier. I don't know if they are underrated. But the strongest writers that I'm seeing right now are Ernest, Post, Jelly, of course, Hardy, and on the women's side, Lainey, Megan, Ella. I mean, we are flush with them, absolutely flush with them, and there's not enough time for me to sit here and name everybody, but I don't know about underrated. I hope they're all getting the credit that they're due, and I can see from the numbers that everybody else sees and hears the same thing that I do. So it's not like that's even just my take on it. I'm just making an observation. So.
What about one artist that you're really excited to see their career? Because I feel like everyone you named pretty much already has a career and has one laid out for them, if not yet.
Well, they didn't when we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nice for me to get to meet them, before they take off and become the biggest thing in the world. I wish I'd gotten to meet Morgan Wallen. Never got to meet him, but proud of him. Just beaming with joy for him. Luke Combs is another fine example. I got to do a couple of shows with Cody Jinks or a show with Cody Jinks and Ryan Bingham the other night, raising money for Texas flood victims. There's way too many artists that to sit here and mention.
Yeah.
But I'm a blessed man. I'm glad I have all of them in my life. Zach Brown is another one. He and I go back before we even met. We knew who each other was, and so we've been friends from the start. From the first time we shook hands, we've been good buddies. So,
and like you knew when you met your wife that it was like, oh, well, this is it. Like, do you get that same feeling when you run into some of these younger artists before they take off? Do you walk away and say, yep, they're going to be the next big thing?
I know pretty quick. Well, yeah, at least you know how you feel about it pretty quick. There's been some of them took off. I didn't get it all. But I think there's just entire genres of music out there that I just have no understanding for, no passion for. And, when you see a writer that writes in one of those genres, you just have to kick back and go, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm glad you're doing it. I told that to Colt Ford one time that buddy, I don't know what it is that you do, but I'm sure you're the best one at it.
That's very fitting for him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited to hear, your station where you get to tell all these stories because, I feel like I could sit here another hour and just pick your brain. But I want to thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And if there's anything that, listeners, fans of yours take away from, hearing these stories or maybe something you can leave them with about new music.
Well, I don't know if I could put up a rainbow or something like that, but I will never go 14 years in a row without new music again. I promise.
That's good.
If I ever do that again, I'm retired. I'm done.
Perfect.
So,
Gotcha.
it was a struggle to get back to a place where I could write, where I could record. But now that I'm there, I feel like it's more of a permanent setting for me now. Yeah.
Well, that's great news.
Yeah, we're all grateful that you're back, and we obviously thank you so much for sitting down and taking time out of your busy schedule to be on the Whiskey Riff Raff podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It does just fly by.